After 15 years of loneliness, Millionaire discovered incredible love with a poor cleaning lady. Michael stared out over the twinkling lights of Chicago from his penthouse. It felt like a beautiful painting, vibrant and full of life, but he was nothing more than a ghost in the frame. 15 long years had passed since he lost her, the love of his life, to that ruthless disease. The laughter that once filled the air was now replaced with silence, a haunting void that echoed through his luxurious home. He watched as families below enjoyed their evening, laughter spilling onto the streets, while he sat alone, cocooned in his wealth yet painfully isolated. The ache of loneliness gripped him. He no longer felt the thrill that money should bring. Every extravagant meal tasted bland, every party felt forced, and every conversation seemed meaningless. Just as despair settled over him like a heavy fog, he caught a glimpse of Clara. Clara, a cleaning lady in the building, brightened each dull corner she touched. With her tangled hair and worn-out uniform, she splashed warmth into the sterile marble lobby like sunlight breaking through clouds. Whenever their paths crossed, he found himself inexplicably drawn to her unyielding spirit. One day, as she scrubbed the floor, she raised her head and met his gaze. Her laughter rang clear, like a bell resonating through the heaviness. "Evenin', Mr. Wilson," she chirped, brushing her hands on her apron. Her smile was genuine and infectious. "You should come down and enjoy the park sometime. It's a bit of a mess right now, but it has the best view of the skyline." His heart tightened at her simple invitation, the warmth of her spirit a stark contrast to his chilly life. "You know, I might just do that," he replied, surprised at himself. Their conversations blossomed like flowers emerging in spring. She'd share stories about her mother, how she juggled 3 jobs to care for her and keep their humble apartment. Michael would listen, each word awakening long-buried emotions, drawing him closer to her. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue." The bond between them deepened, laughter turned into comfort, and comfort became hope. Michael began to forget the judgmental whispers of his wealthy friends. How could fortune measure true connection? Still, shadows loomed. Whispers of Clara's past began swirling through city streets, casting doubts in rooms where he once sought solace. As Michael faced the whispers, he felt torn. The society he'd thrived in now felt like chains, urging him to abandon the light that Clara brought. His heart raced as he approached her one fateful evening, the weight of the world heavy on his shoulders. "Clara," he started, feeling the tremor of uncertainty in his voice. Would he fight for the love that had reignited his spirit? Or let the past and privilege dictate his actions? The air was charged, an electric stillness between them. He knew the answer would change everything. Michael's words hung in the air, tremulous yet heavy with promise. Clara's eyes widened, reflecting the flickering lights of the city behind him. She took a step closer, her breath hitching as if the moment had altered the very fabric of their world. "Michael," she said softly, the way only someone who cared could. "What's wrong?" He could see the warmth in her gaze, the kindness radiating from her. Yet, beneath that was an edge of apprehension. She sensed the turmoil stirring inside him. I've been thinking a lot about what you said," he confessed, his heart pounding. "About coming down to the park. I want to spend time with you, actually get to know you better." A flicker of surprise played across her features, followed by a hesitant smile. "Really? I'd love that. It's beautiful there, and the sunset is like no other." He felt a glimmer of hope unfurl within him, but the shadows of doubt loomed larger. What would people say? Would they ever accept him? But Clara was different, she brought him back to life. "I want to make this work," he urged, fighting back the welling anxiety. "But," What if it doesn't? What if the world gets in the way? Clara tilted her head, assessing him, and for a brief moment, silence sang between them. Then she reached out, her fingers brushing lightly against his arm. Michael, love isn't easy. Life isn't easy. But we owe it to ourselves to try, don't we? Her words settled like a blanket around his heart, wrapping him in warmth. He wanted to throw away all the fears and just hold her, but doubt still clouded his mind. Are you sure? He asked. The question felt too small for the depth of his turmoil. Clara's smile faltered for a moment, then she straightened, determination flickering in her bright eyes. For a long time, I've watched you from afar. You're more than just a millionaire, you're a good man too. And I believe you can embrace more than what's expected of you. He felt a shift in the air, a promise blooming between them, fragile but beautiful. I don't want to hurt you, he urged, finding clarity in her gaze. I'm afraid if I let you in, I won't have the strength to fight the judgments. Clara stepped forward, confidence radiating from her. We'll fight together. I'm not asking you to give up everything. I just want us to have a chance. The vulnerability in her words sank deep into his chest. He realized then that she was not just a cleaning lady, she was his breath of fresh air, his only confidant in a world of whispers and expectations. Okay, he said, his voice steady. Let's take that chance. To the park together. Her expression transformed, and suddenly, Michael saw what he had been missing all those years. Hope was not just a distant memory, it was alive, standing right in front of him. He reached out, intertwining his fingers with hers, feeling the warmth seep through him. But as they made plans, the evening air shifted, and a distant voice echoed through the bustling streets. There he is. Just another rich guy trying to play savior. The laughter that followed cut like a knife, and they both turned, faced with disapproving stares from the crowd, old acquaintances who deemed their connection a farce. Michael felt the chill creep over him, the suffocating weight of judgment creeping back. Would their love survive the whispers? As Clara's hand gripped his tighter, he could see the defiance blazing in her eyes. This was it, their moment to rise, side by side, or retreat to their worlds, divided by lies and fear. Which one would he choose? The answer lay just ahead, as the shadows deepened around them. Michael's heart raced as he met Clara's unwavering gaze. The ridicule from the crowd rang in his ears, a chorus of doubt that threatened to pull him under. He could feel the warmth of her hand in his, strong and grounding, and in that moment, he made a silent vow. I won't let them dictate us, he murmured, his voice barely above the noise surrounding them. Clara nodded, her eyes shining with determination. The laughter still echoed, but it started to fade away, drowned out by the pulse of his own heartbeat. Let us go, he said, his resolve solidifying. He began to walk, pulling Clara along, their hands still intertwined. The bustling crowd stirred around them, but with each step, the energy shifted. The stares turned from judgment to surprise, disbelief replacing mockery when they saw Michael, the man of status and privilege, walking hand in hand with someone they considered beneath him. As they approached the park, the vibrant colors of the sunset spilled across the sky, casting a golden glow. Clara's smile widened, and Michael felt a flicker of joy ignite in his chest. This was a small but powerful victory over the shadows that had loomed so large just moments ago. I love this time of day, Clara said, her voice a gentle caress. It's like the sky is showing us it's never too late for something beautiful. They found a quiet bench under a sprawling oak tree. Michael sat first, pulling Clara down beside him. The branches swayed softly above them, embracing them as if nature itself supported their connection. I've dreamt about moments like this, Michael confessed, staring ahead at the fiery horizon. But there's always been something holding me back. Why don't you let it go? Clara asked, tilting her head to study him. You don't have to be perfect. Just be you. Her words settled like a balm on his troubled spirit. Michael turned to her, really seeing her the way her eyes sparkled with conviction and kindness. "I want that," he said softly. "But I've built my life around expectations. People wanted me to be a certain way, and letting all that go feels scary. You're not alone in this. Let me help you. Whatever happens, we face it together," Clara replied, her voice steady, filled with warmth. Michael felt a surge of hope. It was in those simple words that he saw a glimpse of the life he yearned for, a life not dictated by the judgment of others, but filled with take-it-or-leave-it authenticity. As they sat together, the moment suspended in time, Michael realized that their love had the power to shatter the expectations he'd been crushed under for too long. It could free them both. But just as he leaned in closer, pausing to breathe in the sweet scent of her perfume, a commotion broke nearby. A group of men, clearly drunk, stumbled into view, their raucous laughter interrupting the serenity. One of them pointed at Michael, the smirk on his face instantly recognizable. "Look at the prince and his peasant. What a fairy tale." Anger surged through Michael, and he felt Clara tense beside him. He could see the hurt in her eyes, that flicker of doubt beginning to return, though he wouldn't let it. "Don't let them in your head," he said firmly, his hand squeezing hers tighter. "We can take them on together, remember?" But Clara's face clouded over with uncertainty. Would they truly be able to overcome the distance between their worlds? In that moment, the crowd caught word of the altercation, and their eyes turned toward them once more. Would they become their audience, or could they make their stand and turn the tide? Michael felt a fire igniting in his chest. If they were going to fight this together, they would need to show the world exactly what they were capable of. "Let us show them what love looks like," he declared, heart racing with determination. Could their bond be powerful enough to withstand the storm brewing around them? And just how far were they willing to go to prove it? The drunk men didn't cease their taunts. With each jeer, the bonds of Michael's heart tightened, rage mingled with a fierce protectiveness over Clara. He couldn't let this moment define them. "Just ignore them," Clara whispered, though the tremor in her voice betrayed her calm facade. Her eyes flicked to the unwelcome crowd, and Michael followed her gaze, sensing the shifting energy as whispers spread like wildfire among those nearby. Taking a deep breath, Michael stood up, pulling Clara with him. The bench creaked under the sudden weight, and the gathering crowd hushed slightly, curiosity piqued. With her hand firmly held in his, he felt that familiar jolt of defiance. "They can't decide who we are," he said, projecting his voice clear and steady. "Who do you think you are?" One of the drunks countered, an arrogance draped over his features. "Playing the hero in a fairy tale?" Michael raised his chin. He could feel Clara's heart pounding against his arm, but he refused to falter. "This isn't a fairy tale," he replied, looking right into the man's eyes. "This is real life, and love is stronger than your ignorance." A murmur rolled through the small audience, beginning to form. They were here now, witnesses of this confrontation, and the air crackled with tension. It was a defining moment. They could either validate Michael's resolve or continue the cycle of ridicule. Clara looked up at him, awe mixing with a hint of anxiety. "Michael," she started, uncertainty flickering in her expression. "Trust me," he whispered back, squeezing her hand tighter. The leader of the group chuckled, the drunken haze not quite disguising the hatred in his gaze. "Right, love. What's that even worth?" In that moment, Michael glanced around at the crowd, the way some were shaking their heads, others looked curious, and a rare few showed expressions of support. This was not just about them anymore, it was a chance to speak for anyone who felt marginalized. "It's worth more than any amount of money or status," Michael declared, the fire in his heart blazing high. "It's worth standing up for what we believe in together." Clara's grip tightened, grounding him as he took a step forward, fueled by a rush of emotions. He kept his eyes on hers, knowing they were in this together, not just battling those men but challenging the very notion that their love could ever be insulted. "What we have means everything, and I refuse to let you diminish it," Michael added, his voice strong. He could feel the energy shifting. People around them were no longer amused, they were starting to see the power of defiance and love intertwined. The drunken spark of laughter faded as the reality of the situation settled in. Michael felt Clara's heartbeat sync with his, a steady rhythm of resilience. "Leave us alone." Clara suddenly chimed in, surprising both Michael and the patrons around them. Her voice rang out, fierce and unwavering. "You don't get to dictate who we are or what we can be." The tension became palpable. Michael caught a glimpse of uncertainty in the drunkard's eyes. Around them, more spectators were nodding, feeling the undeniable pulse of unity building. Michael leaned closer to Clara, his heart soaring. "That's it. We're not backing down," he said, appreciation flooding through him. She had stood equal to him in this fight, her strength shining brilliantly. But just as victory felt within reach, one of the drunk men lurched forward, slurring, "You think you can change anything? You're still nothing." Michael's breath hitched. This was a pivotal moment. Would they relent or push through? Would fear crush the spark they had ignited? Together, Clara whispered, her eyes steady and determined. And in that heartbeat, amid the chaos, they understood this was not only about facing the taunts of others. This was about discovering the limitless depths of each other's resolve. They would fight for their love and for the truth against those who dared to mock it. Michael drew in a breath but felt Clara pull him back. "Michael, look," she said, a sudden shift of worry darkening her expression. He turned. Feeling the crowd shift, and saw a man in the back, his face shadowed, but his presence was magnetic. This person made him feel something. Was he here to watch, or was he something else entirely? What new battle was about to unfold? Michael's heart raced as his gaze settled on the figure in the back. The man stood out, not because he was loud or threatening, but because of an energy that seemed to draw everyone's attention. Leaning against a lamppost, he watched Michael and Clara, his expression inscrutable. There was something unnerving about him, something that promised change, but at what cost? "What is he doing here?" Clara whispered, the tension in her voice palpable. "I don't know," Michael replied, a chill running down his spine. He wanted to brush off the newcomer, to focus on the battle at hand. But the man in the shadows felt like a storm waiting to erupt. Another drunk guy stumbled closer, puffing out his chest, intent on reasserting dominance. "Don't you get it? You think your little picture-perfect love makes a difference? It doesn't change the fact that you're just a couple of nobodies." Michael's blood boiled. He squeezed Clara's hand tighter, searching her eyes for reassurance. There was a fire in her gaze, a promise that they would face whatever came next together. "No. We're more than that," Michael shot back, his voice rising above the chaos. "We're not here to play your game. We're standing up for ourselves. For all of us." The crowd shifted. More people were nodding, some even murmuring in agreement. Perhaps, despite the tension, something good was being born from this confrontation. Michael drew strength from their reaction, feeling emboldened. But the shadowed man pushed off the lamppost, making his way closer. "So brave," he called out, his voice smooth, yet dripping with sarcasm. "You think you can win their hearts with hollow words?" Michael's eyes narrowed. "You have no idea what love can do," he shot back, every ounce of his being wrapped up in the challenge. The shadowed man smiled, a slow, calculated lift of the corners of his mouth. "But love is often overshadowed by reality. You'll learn that soon enough." "What does that mean?" Clara asked, confusion etching lines across her forehead. The stranger waved a hand dismissively, still grinning, but his gaze was undeterred, locked onto Michael. "Just that the world isn't as simple as your little bubble of love makes it out to be." The drunkards laughed, their jeers feeling keenly sharp in the atmosphere charged with uncertainty. Michael felt the weight of the situation shift once again. Were they really just living in a fairy tale? What did this man know about their lives? Clara stepped forward slightly, pulling Michael with her. "Whatever reality awaits us out there won't change who we are right now. We stand together, Michael echoed, his voice firm. If they had learned anything tonight, it was that their love could withstand anything, even doubt. But the man's expression turned serious, his eyes narrowing. You think love is going to shield you from betrayal? From loss? Reality hits hard, kids. The chill in his voice hung heavy in the air, cutting through the rising heat of defiance. The murmurs from the crowd waned momentarily, the weight of his words pressing down on them all. No one knows what awaits us, but I do know this, Michael said, heart beating loud and fierce. We're not afraid to fight for what we have, whatever it may bring. The stranger tilted his head, intrigued. Then let us see how far your little love story goes. Because sometimes love isn't enough. Caught off guard by the man's ambiguity, Michael felt uncertainty creep in, gnawing at his steadfast belief. What realities did the shadowed man hold that could potentially unravel their existence? Let us finish this, then, Michael declared, determined yet anxious, unsure of what the next moments would churn up. As the crowd fell silent, the man retreated slightly into the shadows, smirking. He appeared both amused and calculating, a harbinger of potential turmoil. The encounter was not over, it barely seemed to have begun. Clara looked at Michael, her expression a mix of determination and fear. What just happened? I don't know, Michael admitted, the weight of uncertainty lingering. But whatever it is, we're not backing down. Not now. But as the night deepened, he couldn't shake the feeling that something more menacing loomed on the horizon. What secrets lay just beyond the shadows? The air felt electric, charged with confusion and a growing urgency. Michael and Clara stood at the center of a widening circle, eyes locked onto the shadowed man's lingering presence. His mere existence seemed to cast a long shadow over their resolve, igniting questions they had never dared to ask before. The drunk guy from before lurched forward again, emboldened by the tension. Yeah, what's love gonna do when reality slaps you in the face? He sneered, looking around for validation. Some people nodded, their expressions shifting from annoyance to contemplation. Michael clenched his fists, heart pounding as he glanced at Clara. Was it really that easy for everyone to dismiss what they shared? In the midst of the crowd, he thought he could sense a shift. The people were questioning, considering his words, weighing them against the shadowed man's ominous warnings. Real love, he called out, voice steady, changes things. It gives hope. It isn't just some fairy tale. It's our reality. Clara stepped up beside him, eyes ablaze with passion. You don't know what we're capable of. We're not fighting alone here. Her hand gestured toward the people shifting around them, faces now challenged by the weight of Michael's proclamation. But the shadowed man didn't flinch. He continued to observe, reminiscent of a predator sizing up his prey. Hope is a fragile thing, he said, an eerie calmness in his tone. But what happens when hope is broken? When you realize that all your sacrifices mean nothing to a world that doesn't care? The crowd murmured anxiously, doubt creeping in like fog rolling down a hillside. A knot formed in Michael's stomach. What if he was right? What if their love wasn't enough? With a determined swallow, Clara stepped in front of Michael, her voice rising above the rest. We can find a way. We're not giving up. You can't take that from us. The assertiveness of her words seemed to resonate within the space. It sparked a renewed defiance in a few bystanders, heads nodding along with her fervor. Michael could feel the rush of solidarity, but lurking beneath it all was that unwelcome shadow of doubt. Michael looked at Clara, and for a moment, the world around them faded out. His heart swelled with gratitude for her unwavering belief. Together, he whispered, needing her strength to anchor him against the mounting uncertainty. Just then, a newcomer arrived at the edge of the crowd, a girl with bright red hair that caught the dim light. Her face was flushed, and she looked both curious and alarmed. What's happening? She called out, as she pushed her way forward. The guy next to her shrugged, utterly uninterested, but the girl's eyes were wide with anticipation. Something about her presence shifted the mood again, the heaviness momentarily lifted, replaced by curiosity. Maybe they weren't alone in this fight. Love is worth fighting for. Michael shouted, seizing the moment. Who's with us? His heart raced, praying the words would draw others in. A few murmured their agreement. Clara looked around, sensing the tide shift. The love that had once seemed small was now poised to become something much larger. Let us go. Clara exclaimed, pulling Michael closer to her. But just as they were about to push forward, the shadowed man stepped provocatively into the thickening crowd. I admire your courage. But mark my words, every choice has consequences. His smirk was no longer playful, it was a warning, his eyes alight with a darker promise. The crowd recoiled, their newfound courage wavering as they looked to Michael and Clara, fraught with doubt. What does he mean by that? The new girl whispered to Michael, her face paling. Michael's pulse raced at the uncertainty spreading like wildfire around him. We'll find out, he replied, determination racing against trepidation. But as the masses of uncertain faces bore down on him, the chilling thought crept in. What would they really have to face if they moved forward? The shadowed man's figure loomed larger as Michael realized this wasn't just a moment of bravery, it was a turning point in their lives. What price would they pay to keep their love alive in a world where reality threatened to tear them apart? The murmurs in the crowd swelled into a cacophony of voices, uncertainty rippling like a wave. Michael felt a pressing weight, every gaze searching him for answers he didn't have. Clara's hand remained strong in his, a beacon in the swelling storm, but doubt loomed like the shadowed man who taunted them. What do we do now? Clara asked, her voice steady, but Michael could hear the tremor beneath it. He glanced back at the shadowed man, his smirk diminishing any semblance of hope. I don't know, he admitted, trying to mask the fear that clawed at his insides. His words fell short as his throat tightened, heavy with unspoken thoughts. They couldn't turn back. Not now. Not when they had stirred something in the crowd. The new girl with the red hair, her eyes bright with determination, stepped closer. Love is always worth fighting for, she declared, her tone earnest. But it takes more than just words. We need a plan. We need each other. Michael felt a spark ignite within him, fueled by her unwavering spirit. Exactly. He said, adrenaline coursing through him. We stand together. We share our stories. We show them what love can truly do. The crowd began to buzz again, a murmur of excitement mingling with disbelief. Michael noticed some familiar faces nodding, a flicker of resolve lighting their eyes. They were not just strangers at a moment, they were a community longing for connection, for courage. Clara stepped up beside him, lifting her chin. We have to make them believe, just like we believe. Together, we can push back against the darkness. The shadowed man scoffed, his voice slicing through the air. Belief is a slippery slope. How far will you go to protect that illusion? Do you even know the risks involved? Michael squared his shoulders, adrenaline surging through him as he called out, what choice do we have? To live in fear? To not even try? We're not letting you spread your darkness here. He glanced at Clara, who nodded, her fierce gaze answering his unspoken question. This was a challenge, not just to the crowd but to their own hearts. The red-haired girl stepped forward once more, her voice steady. We need to turn this energy into something real. An event. A gathering. We can show the world what love looks like. I can help with that. Shouted another voice from behind, a tall, athletic guy who often played soccer with Clara. I can spread the word. We can make banners, see if anyone wants to share their stories. The excitement was palpable, spreading like wildfire through the crowd. Hope flickered in the air, each person feeling a part of something greater than themselves. But then the shadowed man raised his free hand, a dark wave washing over them. And when the consequences come crashing down, who will be there to lift you up? The question hung heavy in the air, a stone in the pond of their newfound strength. Michael felt the weight of the moment. It wasn't just about love, it was about the shadows lurking around every corner, threatening to engulf them all. "Are we ready for that?" he whispered to Clara, letting her see the vulnerability he had hidden beneath his bravado. Her eyes softened, a flicker of understanding passing between them. "We don't know what's coming. But we can't let fear stop us now, Michael. We're stronger together." With a deep breath, he turned back to the crowd. "So, are you with us?" For a few seconds, the world stood still, hearts united in a moment of collective hope. Then, with a fierce cry, several voices echoed back, "Yes. We're with you." As excitement surged through him, Michael glanced one last time at the shadowed man, who now stood bathed in uncertainty. But the man only smiled, an unsettling glint in his eyes, hinting at a deeper threat yet to reveal itself. Michael felt the air shift as clarity settled in. They might be on the brink of something beautiful, but shadows were creeping closer. What other costs could love demand? Would their courage withstand the trials ahead? Because this was just the beginning. The crowd's energy crackled with newfound purpose. Michael could see it in their eyes, hope was slowly transforming into action. The red-haired girl, who introduced herself as Ava, was already rallying volunteers. The air was thick with excitement. "Let's South meet at the park this Saturday," Ava called, her voice vibrant, sparking further enthusiasm. "We'll set up booths, share stories, and create a space where love can shine." Michael felt exhilaration bubbling within him. "We can prepare a flash mob. Just imagine, standing together, dancing our hopes into the world." Clara squeezed his hand tighter, her smile lighting up her face. "That's brilliant. People love to celebrate, and dancing together will show our joy." But amidst their excitement, the shadowed man seemed to linger, a specter haunting their shared vision. Michael could still feel his cold smirk from across the crowd. There was something about that look, something that told him this wasn't as simple as it seemed. As the group began to disperse, a voice broke through his thoughts. It was the tall soccer player, Alex, who had offered to help spread the word. "What if we create a video? We can share our love stories and post it online to get more people involved." "Yes!" Ava exclaimed, clapping her hands together. "We need to reach beyond our immediate circle. Love shouldn't be kept quiet." As they discussed plans, Michael kept glancing at Clara, marveling how her spirit seemed to anchor them all. With the crowd buzzing around them, he felt a wave of gratitude. They were not alone in this fight. Clara returned his gaze with an intensity that sent warmth coursing through him. "Michael," she said softly, her voice almost a whisper amidst the chaos, "I think this could bring us closer as a community. And to each other." His heart quickened at her implication. He wanted to reach out, to take her in his arms, but knew the battle ahead demanded their focus. Still, the tenderness in her eyes made him contemplate the possibilities. An hour later, the crowd had thinned, but a handful remained, discussing logistics and rallying support. Michael felt a swell of pride. They were forging a connection, a community committed to resilience. But then the unsettling presence returned, a chill seeping back into the air. The shadowed man reappeared, this time from the edge of the park, lurking like a wolf watching from the shadows. He leaned against a tree, arms crossed, his grin now more pronounced. "Empowered, are we?" he called out, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "You honestly think this will change anything? Love doesn't conquer all. It merely brings you closer to pain." Michael's heart dropped momentarily. The crowd fell silent, eyes darting between him and the man. "What's your point?" Michael fired back, finding his footing. "You can't threaten love. It's too powerful for that." "Is it, though?" The shadowed man replied, pushing himself off the tree with a slow grace. "Let me know how that works out for you when the darkness comes, and it will come." With that, he vanished into the night, leaving behind a palpable tension that gripped the crowd. Michael glanced around, sensing the unease settling back in. Don't listen to him, Ava said, rallying the group's spirits. We're embarking on something beautiful. We can't let shadows sway us. But Michael lingered on the man's words, a nagging doubt whispering in the back of his mind. Could they really withstand whatever storm was on the horizon? Clara turned to Michael and placed her hand on his shoulder. We're in this together. Whatever comes, we will face it as a community. He nodded, but in his gut, uncertainty churned. They had ignited a fire, but could it withstand the coming trials? Would love truly protect them against the shadows that threatened to consume? As they began to disperse for the night, Michael took a deep breath, committing to the path ahead. But deep down, he felt the weight of impending darkness looming closer than ever before. What unseen dangers lurked in the shadows? Could their bravery outshine the looming threat? The questions lingered in the air, desperate for answers that remained distant. Saturday arrived, bright and warm, the sun casting its golden light over the park. A wave of excitement washed over Michael as he stepped into the space that had been transformed by hope. Colorful banners hung from trees, and tables filled with art supplies and baked goods lined the grassy area. The scent of fresh flowers wafted through the air as laughter danced with the gentle breeze. He found Clara at the booth where they planned to make signs. She wore a bright yellow shirt that matched her effervescent spirit, causing his heart to swell. Look at everyone, she exclaimed, her eyes shining. This is amazing. Michael couldn't take his eyes off her. It really is. You were right, this can bring us closer. As people trickled in, Ava took charge, her vibrant voice cutting through the chatter. Let's start with our love stories. Who wants to go first? One by one, individuals stepped forward, sharing tales that moved everyone. A grandmother spoke of a love that endured decades, while a young couple shared how they overcame barriers to be together. Each story wove a rich tapestry of emotion, binding the crowd with threads of vulnerability and strength. But in the back of his mind, Michael couldn't shake the shadow's grip. He scanned the area, half expecting the man in the darkness to appear. Each shared joy was punctuated by a fleeting worry. Was the shadowed man truly gone? Just then, a loud crash echoed from a nearby building. It startled everyone, and a few gasps rippled through the crowd. Michael's heart raced. Cautiously, he moved toward the noise, with Clara right beside him. They reached a cluster of bystanders peering at shattered glass. A crowd gathered, their whispers crackling with a blend of concern and fear. It was just a window, a voice said. But who did that? Michael remained on edge, his instincts flaring. Let's stay together, he said to Clara, squeezing her hand tightly. We can't let panic spread. At that moment, Ava stepped forward. This is why we're here. We can't let fear rule us. Love is stronger. Her unwavering conviction filled the air. Her words rang true, yet Michael felt a tight knot in his chest. How could they usher in such love when darkness taunted them? The shadow of doubt lingered too closely. Together, we can create a force that no shadows can extinguish, Clara said softly, her eyes locking with his, grounding him. We need to believe that love is powerful enough to push back the darkness. Just as they prepared to return to the heart of the gathering, a figure emerged from between the trees. The shadowed man. His grin widened as he surveyed the scene, reveling in the strife he seemed to evoke. Ah, look at you all, he shouted, his voice dripping with disdain. What you're doing is beautiful, but naive. Love doesn't shield you from the chaos of the world. It only makes you more vulnerable. Michael felt his pulse quicken. You don't know what love is, he yelled back, roused by a sudden defiance. Love gives us strength. It's why we're here. Why we exist. Is it strength, or just a comforting illusion? The shadowed man chuckled, stepping closer. Tell me, when the reality of loss hits, how will your love hold up then? The crowd fell silent, breaths caught in the air. Michael's heart raced, uncertainty gnawing at him. Had they underestimated this threat? Clara squeezed his hand again. "We don't have to let him get to us," she whispered. "We have each other. We have this community." Michael nodded slowly, feeling a flicker of resolve ignite within him. The challenge faced them both, for every heart in the crowd was pounding with a blend of fear and hope. As the percussion of voices began to swell again, he wondered if what they were building could truly withstand the dread encroaching from the shadows. Would love be enough to rally them through what lay ahead? What would unfold next? Would the shadows overcome their light, or would love reign despite the threat? The air felt electric, and he couldn't help but think, the fight for their hearts was only just beginning. The park was alive, a swirling dance of color and sound, but beyond the joy, the looming shadow felt more real than ever. Michael stood tall, surrounded by laughter and stories of love, yet doubt whispered in his ear. The shadowed man's words twisted in his mind, casting a pall over their beautiful gathering. "Is love strong enough?" he murmured to Clara as they stood side by side, their eyes scanning the crowd. Her gaze met his, unwavering. "It has to be, Michael. Let us show that we're not just talking the talk, we need to walk the walk." He nodded, but anxiety burrowed deep. Just then, Ava rushed over, her cheeks flushed with excitement. "We're getting more people. Can you believe it?" Michael forced a smile, driven by her enthusiasm. "That's fantastic." Yet, the cold presence of doubt was hard to shake. The world outside felt looming, ready to engulf them in shadows. As they drew deep breaths, the atmosphere shifted, nervous murmurs rippled through the crowd. Michael's heart skipped a beat. "What's happening?" A voice from behind shouted, "Look out!" Panic surged. The shadowed man appeared again, cutting through the crowd with a menacing smirk. "Ah! Back for more." With Clara beside him, Michael stepped forward, heart pounding. "What do you want?" he demanded, his voice steady despite the tumult inside. "I simply come to observe," the man replied casually, yet his dark intent loomed large. "You've rekindled hope today, but let us not forget love will still face the harsh trials of life. It's beautiful, but blind. Just wait until it all crumbles around you." That old fear gripped at Michael's heart again. "You're toxic," he retorted, raising his chin defiantly. "You can't poison what we have." With a flick of his finger, the shadowed man gestured toward the crowd. "Enjoy your little festival, but know this: realities will always intervene." Clara stepped forward, fierce determination in her eyes. "You think your words can shake our resolve? We've spent our lives fighting for love. We refuse to let you dictate what we can become." The shadowed man's laughter echoed. "Such bravery, but remember, denial is just a mask. Reality is waiting for the moment to pounce." With that, he drifted back into the distance, leaving Michael's heart racing. The atmosphere felt heavy, thick with tension. "Don't let him get to you," Clara reassured, her hand tightening around his. But the darkness had planted itself in Michael's thoughts. Can love really withstand everything? He thought, feeling doubt gnaw at the edges of their vibrant community. Ava, ever perceptive, stepped to the forefront, waving her arms. "Hey! Let us refocus. We're here to celebrate love, share our stories, and recognize our strength." The crowd began to rally, voices rising, a collective resistance forming against the unwelcome presence that had threatened their joy. Michael took a breath, fueled by Clara's unwavering gaze. A plan was forming in his mind. Let us turn his words into our strength. We tell our stories, showcase our grit. Love has its challenges, but we can prove it can thrive. As voices of support emerged, Clara smiled, the warmth of hope radiating through the chilly air. That's it. Let us stand together. Show them what our love means. Banners fluttered in the wind, laughter mingled with resolve. They began to gather stories, recalling moments of joy that had shaped them. Michael felt the bonds of their community tightening. Each tale shared, each connection deepened, felt like a battle won against the shadows waiting to smother them. As twilight descended over the park, the crowd became a kaleidoscope of colors and emotions, united by shared experiences. Each story spilled forth, lighting the night like stars breaking through the dark sky. But as Michael took the stage to share his own story, he could see the shadowed man lingering at the periphery watching, waiting like a predator. A shiver ran through him. Doubt scuttled beneath his skin. Still, he stood firm, intent on their journey forward. "We are stronger together," he beckoned, feeling the warmth of Clara's presence beside him. "Love is our armor, and it gives us the strength to fight whatever lies ahead." Clara stepped forward, radiant as the stars overhead. "In this world, we will face trials, but we won't back down. We are here, and we matter." Finally, the crowd erupted, cheers punctuating the night. The sound was a sonic bomb against the encroaching shadows. But in the deepest recesses of Michael's heart, doubts flickered like embers still burning. The shadowed man would not easily relent, there was a reckoning coming, but together they would face it together. As night enveloped them, he caught Clara's eye, a silent promise exchanged. Whatever lay ahead, they would stand united. So this was the defining moment. Love, a triumphant flame against encroaching darkness. Could they think of it as anything else? The ground felt steady under his feet. Together. In that singular moment, he found clarity. Maybe love would be enough. But just then, a scream echoed in the distance, and everyone turned instinctively tense, hearts racing once more. What would this moment bring? Would they face their fears or let shadows pull them under? It was time to discover what their love could withstand, what they would fight for, and ultimately, if they could truly outrun the shadows. And driven by courage, Michael whispered to Clara, "Let us do this." Together, they stepped into the inevitable storm, ready with open hearts, ready to unveil their truth. Only time would reveal how strong their love truly was. If you felt the weight of their journey, make sure to show your support right now. You need to subscribe to the channel immediately. Leave a like to feed the algorithm and show you're a true fan. Comment on your feelings about this emotional roller coaster of an ending. And for goodness sake, don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. This is the moment to rally behind the message of love and courage.